Have you ever felt unworthy of asking for help? Sometimes the weight of our mistakes, our position in life, or the feeling that we don't belong makes us believe that we don't deserve a miracle. We feel we need to meet a list of requirements before we can approach God. But today's story shatters that idea. It is the story of a man who, in the eyes of his people, was the enemy, an oppressor, someone who was on the wrong side. And yet his faith was so pure and so powerful that it left Jesus himself amazed. This is a profound lesson on how true faith is not about who we are, but about who we believe him to be. In the city of Capernaum, a place where Jesus performed many miracles, life was a tense mix of Jewish tradition and Roman occupation. It was in this setting that a Roman centurion approached Jesus. A centurion was an army officer, a man of power, authority, and discipline in command of 100 soldiers. To the Jewish people, he was a symbol of Rome's oppression. His presence was a constant reminder that they were not free. But this man did not come with arrogance or orders. He came with the heart of a desperate father, breaking through all social and cultural barriers. "Lord," he said, his voice, accustomed to giving commands, now full of supplication, "my servant lies at home paralyzed, suffering terribly." Jesus' response was immediate and full of compassion. Without hesitating, without questioning the man's nationality or profession, he said, "I will go and heal him." Imagine the scene. Jesus, a Jewish preacher, offering to enter the house of a Gentile, a Roman officer. In that culture, this was unthinkable, something that would make him unclean in the eyes of the religious leaders. But for Jesus, compassion never had borders. The crowd surrounding them must have fallen silent, shocked by the offer. They expected rejection, perhaps a theological debate, but not this immediate acceptance. It was the centurion's reply that changed everything, that transformed a story of healing into an eternal lesson on the nature of faith. The soldier, hearing Jesus' offer, raised his hand. "Lord," he said, his voice filled with a deep respect, "I am not worthy to have you come under my roof." This declaration was astonishing. A man of power declaring his unworthiness. He understood the cultural barrier, but his humility went deeper. He recognized the holiness of Jesus in a way that many of Jesus' own people could not. He didn't feel entitled to demand anything. He was asking for a favor from a much higher authority than his own. His faith was not arrogant, it was reverent. He knew his place, not before Rome, but before God. The centurion then revealed why his faith was so remarkable. He used the only language he knew perfectly, that of authority and the chain of command. "But just say the word," he continued, "and my servant will be healed." He didn't need a spectacle. He didn't need Jesus to touch his servant. He just needed an order, a word from the source of all power. His logic was simple and brilliant. "For I myself am a man under authority, with soldiers under me. I tell this one, 'Go,' and he goes, and that one, 'Come,' and he comes. I say to my servant, 'Do this,' and he does it." In this simple analogy, the centurion showed an understanding of Jesus' spiritual authority that was incredibly profound. He was saying, "I understand how power works. In my world, my word has power because of the authority of Rome that is behind me. I don't need to be physically present for my orders to be carried out. Jesus, I recognize that your word has power because of the authority of heaven that is behind you. Your authority is not limited by geography or distance. If you just give the order, the sickness will have to obey, just as my soldiers obey me." He saw Jesus not just as a healer, but as a cosmic commander whose words were decrees that reality itself had to follow. The gospel says that when Jesus heard this, he marveled. Think about that. Jesus, who saw the creation of the universe, who knew the hearts of all men, was amazed. He stopped. turned to the crowd that was following him and used that moment to teach a crucial lesson. I tell you the truth, I have not found anyone in Israel with such great faith. It was an astonishing compliment, and at the same time a gentle rebuke to his own people, who so often demanded physical signs and proof, even after witnessing miracle after miracle. This foreigner, this soldier of the oppressing army, understood the power of Jesus in a purer way than those who had grown up hearing the prophecies. The centurion's faith was based on pure trust in the word and authority of Jesus. He did not need to see to believe. He believed, and therefore he knew he would see the result. He taught us all that faith is not a vague feeling. It is an understanding of who God is and the power his word carries. We do not need to bargain with God or tell him how he should perform the miracle. Our part is to present our request with a humble heart and trust that his word, once spoken, has the power to change our reality, no matter how distant we may feel from the solution. Then, Jesus turned to the centurion, his face still expressing admiration. He honored the man's faith in the exact way he had asked. He did not say, "Okay, I will go then." He met the centurion on the level of his own faith. With the authority of a king giving a decree, Jesus said, "Go, let it be done just as you believed it would." It was an incredible declaration of power. The healing was not linked to a ritual, but directly to the faith of the man who asked for it. As you believed, your faith was the measure of your miracle. And the gospel records the result with a powerful simplicity. And his servant was healed at that very moment. The miracle happened at a distance, at the exact instant that Jesus' word of faith met the soldier's humble faith. Imagine the scene in the centurion's house. The servant, who was paralyzed and in agony, suddenly sits up, strength returning to his limbs, the pain vanishing. The other servants in the house are astonished, not understanding what happened. But the centurion, upon returning home, would not have been surprised. He expected nothing less. He knew the order had been given and that the order had been carried out. His faith was not a hope. It was a certainty. This incredible story leaves us with a question that echoes through the centuries. What kind of faith do we have? Do we have the faith that requires seeing to believe? Or do we have the faith of the centurion who believes in order to see? So often in our prayers, we act as if we need to convince God or give him suggestions on how we should solve our problems. We say, "Lord, if you could just come here and touch this situation." The centurion teaches us a deeper way to pray. A prayer that says, "Lord, I know who you are. I recognize your authority over my sickness, over my financial situation, over my family. I am not worthy, but I know that you are powerful. Just say the word." If you are facing a situation today that seems impossible, if you feel unworthy or distant from the help you need, remember the Roman soldier. His position did not matter. His nationality did not matter. What mattered was his humble heart and his unwavering faith in the authority of Jesus' word. May we have the courage to approach God not based on our own merits, but based on the certainty of his power. If there is an area in your life where you need Jesus to just say the word, I invite you to leave your name in the comments. Let us unite as a community, praying for one another so that we may all have the faith that amazes the heart of God.